Okay, this is a short video just introducing some of the latest features in SpatialXL. We are now in version 9.2.0.2. So we've gone up a kind of bigger version here just because we've put lots of new cleanup features in to make things simple and easy. First feature here, which I'm going to mention, is you'll see here for our background color, there's an option here to say flip colors same as background. Now that option was on by default and you couldn't change it. It happened from a few months ago. We've now got an option, it's off by default now. And if you do want it, which is usually the mining people would want it, you can put it on, and then if you try and draw a black line against a black background, it will show up as white and vice versa, just so that you don't miss stuff, which often happens with the mining people. So that's now an option in your scene properties. It is also set per scene, so you might have, if you do have more than one scene here, one scene can have it on and another scene might not have it on. Okay, that's the one new option. Next feature in our layers, so if I were to go on to, let's just for fun turn on this layer, let's go on to the KFC layer here, and if I go properties, we've got an apply button. So what is nice is if you make a change, you can just click apply and the effect will be immediately there. You don't have to reopen the dialog later if you want to tweak it. Like for example, I can put transparency down to the middle here and I say apply and it'll apply that transparency. If I make it all the way down, I say apply, it would apply it. Obviously the transparency doesn't show very much, but that's fine. That's not a good thing to test. What we will do now is we'll show you a new thing we have with our images and icons. So all images and icons you can specify over here. It's a new field, a scale. So here's a very good example. Let's just say on this McDonald's thing, maybe those KFC logos, they're a little bit big. Let's make them half their size, 0.5. You click apply and they'll go smaller. You don't have to close the dialog. You might say no, a little bit bigger. Click apply and there we go. Same for selected image. You can do the same thing. Same for your line images if you have them. And even for your thematics, if you use images here, you can type in the scale over here. If you leave the scale out or if you type in somewhere invalid here for the scale, it just assumes no scale. Otherwise, it uses the scale you specify. Okay, so that's that feature there. Then another feature we put in here to make it convenient to work with workbooks which refer to relative data. So what I mean by this is, for example, this particular workbook here, Storyboard Demo, it's actually in this famous brands folder here. So Storybook Demo, it's down, there it is there, Storyboard Demo. So now what we might want to do is I might want to take a particular file in shapefiles here and I might want to add it, this final layer I'd like to add. So I can drag it in and I can put it there. Now, so there it is, it's added that final shape layer. There is a problem with that though. If someone else now in their OneDrive, or if they've copied this workbook with them, that layer won't have the same right reference. So if someone else opened up this workbook now with this new layer that I've put in, it won't be able to pick it up. However, there is so we've put something in that is going to help us. So you see that that layer that I added is in shapefiles. And shapefiles is under my folder here, where the Storyboard Demo Excel workbook is. So what the system has done, when I open this up here, if I go into the properties and I look at the data, you'll see here that it didn't put the full path in. It put that pipe symbol, that vertical symbol is called the pipe symbol, and then the subfolder shapefiles with that, with the name of the shapefile. So what that means, if you now open up this workbook in your OneDrive, which has different names, different folder names, it might be under the Prime Thought, not in the OneDrive Prime Thought folder, you'll be able to it'll automatically find the file. Okay. So as long, and also now as well, if you were to copy this workbook, as long as you copied that shapefiles folder with at least that file in and kept them together the same way they are here, it'll all work. Okay. You used to be able to manually put that in. Now it does it for you automatically. So I just need to drag something in, it'll put it automatically. And you'll notice here, watch, I'm going to change this file. I'm going to go in and change it to be, so how about I'm going to rather go into the GTI data folder, which is under the folder where I'm working. So let's just go into GTI data and let's choose one of these here. Let's actually choose one that's downloaded so it won't go so long. How about, let's see, maybe in shapefiles we'll choose something else. Maybe intersection layers, let's try that one. Now watch what happens when I choose it. So I've chosen it now. And look, it worked out, it's in shapefiles, it's relative to my current folder, and I put it in like that. Let's just try one of the others then. Let's go up to GTI data. Go to GTI data, so I choose this one here. I go open, and look here, it says relative to me, the pipe symbol, GTI data, blah. So this way here, the nice thing is when we have all our work in our OneDrive folders, for example, on my machine, the OneDrive folder says Derek Diamond OneDrive Prime Thought Software Solutions. On other machines, because if I share this folder, it'll probably be in this format here. It'll just, I'll show you here, it'll be under Prime Thought Software Solutions, Derek Diamond, data, famous brands. But because of this relative reference, when you open up this workbook in OneDrive on your side, all the references will work for you. So that's a major change we put in. It took quite a bit of work because there's quite a few things we have to do with Excel to make that work, because Microsoft, when it's in OneDrive, does various things to the file name and that. So that's been all worked through. So anyway, so that's a new feature. So I'll just change this back to, well, let's make it that for fun. So we go OK, and there you go, it's loading that file. So that's a special new feature which we have. Obviously, if you load now a shapefile which is not below or parallel to the shapefile that you're working with, it'll put in the full path to that shapefile. And unfortunately, if that path doesn't exist on the other person's machine, then obviously it won't load. But that's been there all the time. Anyway, so that's quite a major feature that we added there to that. Some other small features here in drawing. When you draw a rectangle, what it does, at the moment you could specify, when you draw the rectangle, you're drawing from a start point to an end point, and then you can specify what the left distance is and what the right distance is from how you're drawing. Now what you can do is you can make it draw as a closed line string, which is the default, or just draw the two side lines, or draw even the line that you're drawing between to draw the rectangle. And that's used for many applications in mining and whatever, but it's quite useful because it's all in this one tool. So that's also a new feature we put in. What I also did is, you might have found in your scene properties dialog, some of these things moved around into funny places or were cut off. That's been fixed up. It now just spaces them around. It makes sure they're always visible and easier to work with. So that's been fixed up as well. It's another feature that's been fixed up. Yeah, so that's basically some of the new stuff in SpatialXL. So the main thing is the automatic relative folders. And that it works for shapefiles, for any kind of file, by the way, not just shapefiles, for DWG, DGN, anything. And then also the apply button when you're looking at properties. So if I want to go here into styling and I want to try a different color, how about that color? I can quickly see how it looks by just clicking apply, and there you go. See, no, it's too light. I'll rather make it sort of that one. You say apply. Oh, that looks good. Then you can go OK. So that's your other one. And then your sizing of your icons. So it's very easy to size these icons now. You just specify a percentage. So if your source image is too big, you can just shrink it down without having to change your source image. and then it's very easy to work with it like that. So here we go. We can just change this number, make it back to the full size, click apply. There we go, got the bigger icons. One other thing as well, which might not have been publicized, is that your image for an icon, so let's go into, let's just do Spur for example. I'm going to go properties now. If we go to its image, we can choose an SVG file. So that's a new feature. So here's a Domino's SVG we created. So it's actually an SVG. We can choose that one. And there you go, there it is. And so we put that for Spur, so I can say apply. And there you go, there's those are SVGs. You can see how it can scale. So again here, let's reduce its size a bit. And there we go, you can reduce its size nicely. SVG files can sometimes appear very big, but there you go. So we actually got an SVG file, which works. So we do support SVGs. So there we go. Okay, so those are our new features that we've got in SpatialXL.